Yeah, can you guys see the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. So this is where we had stopped in the previous class. Okay, advantages of linear programming. So if you remember, I had explained you about the bottleneck as well. So this bottleneck, yeah. Mm, So if you remember what is bottleneck, so you can remember something like a bottle, a normal bottle where you are having at the bottom, we are having a bigger size, and as it comes near the top where you usually fill the water or drink, so at that part that is smaller than your base basically. So that is in between what we call when it is tapering, when it is getting smaller from bigger size. So that is called as a bottleneck. Basically, where you hold a bottle. Okay, so that is the bottleneck. So I had explained in terms of production how it happens. Okay, so if you were not present or anything, you can just go back to my previous recording. It's already uploaded. So you can go to the JCE Connect and you can search for operations research. You will get this particular uploads. Okay, so you can go there and you can check any previous class. Okay, so each and every class is recorded and has been uploaded over there. I think you might be aware of all of these things. So as and when you are practicing, if you are having any issues, so as and when we are doing the online classes, so that will be recorded and it will be put in that particular JCE Connect. Okay, so and there is a special playlist made for you guys like for different subjects. So as far as OR is concerned, so it's operations research and subject code also if you type you'll get it. Okay, 20 MBA 24. So that's your subject code for OR. So if you type that, you'll be getting that as well. So if you're having any issues or any doubts or any confusions, or if you don't remember what to do next, so go back to that particular recording and you can refer it. Okay, so I don't think you have any issues with the advantages. You can go back and refer if you forgot anything or if you're not remembering anything. Okay, next moving to the limitations of LP, that is linear programming. LP treats all relations among variables as linear in the sense in a straight line. So it may the what do you call the relationship or the variables may not be linear. It could be different. It could be a parabolic one. It could be a hyperbolic one. We never know. Okay, but here these are the limitations. As assumptions we have made, everything is linear. So it may not be linear as well. Okay, the relation may not be linear. That is limitations. One of the limitations. Then while solving the LP model, there is no guarantee that we will get integer valued solutions. Okay, you might get solutions in terms of decimals like 40.24, 17.36. Okay, if it is like in terms of hours, okay, it is fine. If it is kind of labor, so how many labors I want to put over there. So if it is 5.36, I cannot cut a particular person, right? I have to make it a whole. I have to bring it back, or I need to move it further. So usually we go for further, but if you go further, you'll not get the optimum solution. That's what it is. Okay, so that is what they are telling you here. So many a times you will be getting answers in decimal points and not integers. Okay. Then the LP model does not take into consideration the effect of time and uncertainty. So, like time and uncertainty in the sense, if a particular offer is for a limited period of time, so that particular time is not taken into consideration here. Here we are looking into the maximization or minimization. Okay, so the objective function would be of maximization or minimization always. So they may not take okay after this particular duration. Okay, like for example, 1 week. The offer that is there is only for 1 week. So if you are coming after 1 week, you need to pay extra, or some extra money has to be uh, put here and there so that you get that particular offer. Or to be eligible, you need to pay something or you need to buy something else. So basically, you are paying more from your hand. So that things are not taken into consideration. And if you see uncertainty, so present time is the best example for uncertainty, where suddenly there is a COVID spike and we are getting like out of nowhere we are getting the lockdowns and all. Okay, so every day we are getting different news. So you need to make sure that okay, whether it is the right news or not, whether it is fake news. So many times people do all these things. So many things might be uncertain where it may not be taken into consideration. Then sometimes large scale problems cannot be solved with LP techniques even with the use of computer. This happens because if there are too many constraints or if the problem is too big, okay, if the problem is too big and if the problem is having many variables, so here we can only use two variables. So if we are having only two variables, then we can have the linear programming in terms of graphical method, because we are having only two axes, that is one is x and one is y. So we'll be having only two variables. If we are having two variables, we can have uh, the LPP. If we are having more than two variables, we have to go to different methods. So don't worry about it. It's not there in your syllabus. We are having the LP with the graphical method. So that is one of the problems. Even very complex problems can be there, where even use of computer also may not help you much. Then parameters appearing in the model are considered to be constant, but in real life situations, they are frequently neither known or not constant. In the sense, even in assumption, we have seen that all the things about the problem needs to be known. Okay, and the variables need to be constant. Sorry, not the variables, the parameters. Okay, needs to be constant. So here we in the real life it may be constant or may not be constant. Okay, with respect to time they may change. Or at times we may not know many of the things about the problem. Okay, any information about the problem may not be known. So at that particular time, this particular LP, that is linear programming, may not be that useful. Okay, then it deals with only single objective. Whereas in real life, we may come across conflict of multiple objective problems. Okay, here no doubt we are calculating for all the different options that we have, but for it is asked like in the question for maximization or minimization, either maximization or minimization. We calculate all for maximization or minimization, but we need to choose accordingly. But in real life, we may have multiple solutions or the multiple objectives for a particular problem. So that may not be included here. So we are only focusing on the maximization or the minimization. So these are some of the limitations. So remember, if you understand the concept properly, you can write the like the advantages, then the disadvantages, okay, on your own, or limitations. Disadvantages or limitations. So for limitations, if you have any assumptions, so there will be some limitations, because if the assumptions are not true, your model will not work. Okay, so this is the basic one where we will get to know where whether it works or not. Okay, so these are the limitations of LP. So we'll see areas of application. So where all the linear programming is used. Okay, in agricultural applications. So where all in agricultural applications, I had given you some example. Like okay, we have to add two different fertilizers. Okay, so similar problem we are looking now. Okay, after this, so where like two options are given to you. So phosphorus and urea has to be put in your field in a certain quantity, and there are various different people who are selling it in different proportions. So we have to take two together. Then whether like here it is minimization of cost, because you are paying, right. A farmer is paying to get those particular fertilizers. Then he needs to use them. Okay, so in case of agricultural applications you can use, it will help you to get a proper solution, okay, or the optimal solution. Then military applications. So military applications, for example, I'll give you. There is enemy who needs to be intercepted through air. Okay, so here we can make sure the optimum use of fuel, and we can make optimum to get the optimum output also. So like we are having a certain amount of fuel only with us, and we are having it may depend, okay, the different constraints, like how many aircrafts are there with you, okay, then how many at a time you need to fly, okay, to have the maximum output, plus whether only once you need to go or you need to have multiple rounds over there. Okay, and how many at a time, like only two aircrafts can go or four aircrafts can go or six aircrafts can go. So that's why based on all these things a particular squadron is made. Okay, a squadron may consist of various number of planes, helicopters and all, depending upon what it is. Okay, so similarly, to have that maximum effect or the optimum effect that we require, we use the linear programming there. So in military applications, then in production management. Okay, product mix. So what is product mix? A company can produce several different products, each of which requires to use a limited production resources. Okay, even we are looking problems of these. Okay, so you are manufacturing different products, okay, and you are using different quantities of raw materials. Now we need to make sure how many can you do. Like for example, you are having two products, product A and product B. So how many of product A can be produced and how many of product B can be produced to have maximum output, in the sense maximum profits. So you are making products to sell, right? So which all you produce you will be selling. So similarly, so only with A I have to go, or only with B I have to go, or I have to go with a combination of both. Okay, to get the optimum level in whatever available resources I have. Then production planning. The production planning deals with the determination of minimum cost of production. Okay, so production planning. So we need to make sure we are having a minimum cost for production. So those kind of applications are being catered in production planning. Then assembly line balancing. What is this? The problem is likely to arise when an item can be made by assembling different components. Okay, the process of assembling requires some specific sequences. Okay, the objective here is to minimize the total time elapsed. So in the sense here, like okay, when we'll see one of the constraints is time or the labor hours. We call them as labor hours. So one person working for 1 hour would be one labor hour. Okay, like 10 people working for 1 hour would be 10 labor hours. Okay, similarly, like to assemble a component fully, how many labors are required, and like for example you are calculating it for a week. Okay, so in a week how many components can be produced. So there is a fixed number of labor hours that is available with you, right? So depending upon how many people are working and for how many hours a day. So these all will be giving you certain number of working hours for a particular time duration. So within that, how many components can be fitted, okay, or how many components can be what you call assembled? How many products can be assembled basically? So that is taken care of, assembly line balancing, and much more are there. So major things are these. Then financial management. So here portfolio selection. So what is portfolio selection? So you might have 10 or 20 or 30 different kind of options with you. So which all options to take? Okay, so I hope you know what's a portfolio. So in general terms, in terms of stock, okay, in share market, I'll give you example. So the various number of stocks or the various number of companies that you have, so whatever number it might be, so that is I'm not concerned. Like if you are having stocks of 5 companies, so your portfolio consists of 5 companies. That's a portfolio. It's a combination of all your uh, what do you call, all your investments, okay, basically in stock market. So in general, stock market portfolio is this. In general portfolio, if you see what's your portfolio, it could be where all you have invested, like how many insurances have you taken, where all, like FDs, RDs, okay, then mutual funds, then stock market. So everything combined is your portfolio in general. Okay, so portfolio in stock market is how many stocks you have with you of how many companies. So that is your portfolio. Then in general terms, I give you like where all you have invested. So everything comes into your portfolio. Then profit planning. So maximum output from where I am getting, like as I told you, different things are available like FD, RD, and mutual funds. So like, do I need to go only with FD or RD or mutual fund, or should I have percentage in each of those? Okay, or any two of those. So to find all these things, we can use LP. Okay, then marketing management. So media selection. So if you see, if you want to have an advertisement, so we call that as a medium or media. So which all media are you going to choose? Like we are having communication through print media. So we are having in print we are having newspapers, magazines, then posters, then paper inserts, pamphlets. So all these things are available. So which one I need to choose? Okay, media selection. So if you really want to go through the print media. Then we are having broadcast media. In broadcast media, we are having two types. One is TV, where you can see music as well as music in the sense audio as well as visual. AV is there in television. But if you go to radio or FM, you can only hear the voice. Okay, so here again in this particular kind of media, we are having two types. So under that, we need to find out. So there are other various parameters which are there. So for that also we can use the benefits, the constraints and all if you take into consideration. So what kind of media can be selected can also be put here. Then traveling salesman problem. So traveling salesman problem in the sense we can say here like the salesman's problem is to find the shortest route from a given city. Okay, so for example, salesman is there, he's having an area which he needs to be covering. So from what point he needs to start, okay, and he needs to end at the same point, right? He needs, like if he's starting from his house or from his office, he needs to come back to the office again at the end of the day. So here we need to find out the optimum way where he cannot like come back to the same place again. Okay, if he's coming back to the same place, he's wasting his time and his energy there. So instead of coming back to the same place, if he is traveling, okay, in some other direction where he could use that particular time and energy to maximize his effort. So how to find that particular route? Okay, so from start to end without tracing or retracing the path, in the sense without coming back. For example, he is going to three villages, for example. So he has to go to 1, 2, and 3. So for going to 3, he needs to come back to 1, then he can go to 3. So to avoid this, is there any way? So what is the shortest path? Whether he has to go to 3 first, then 2, then 1. Okay, so you need to make sure like that. He needs not waste his time and energy in moving up and down. So these are your traveling salesman problem. Then physical distribution. Okay, I told you like various godowns are there and various markets are there. Okay, so how to transfer from which godown to which market at a lesser price, because transportation cost is there. Okay, so this is basically we call them as transportation problems only. So here they have given physical distribution of products from various place of manufacture or place of storage to various markets. Then personal management, personal in the sense people. So here staffing problem. You are having a particular work to be done, and you need to make optimum number of people to work over there. Otherwise, if you have too many people, you are wasting your resource. You have to pay everyone, right? So if you are having very less number of people, they need to work more. They'll get tired or they may leave and go. So we need to have adequate number of people also. So those are called as staffing problems. So in all these areas, there are many other areas we could basically work on. So these are the major areas which you will be like after your MBA, you will be going. So like it could be agriculture may not be one of it. If you are having fields or anything, you can use this particular LPP there. Then military, you may or may not go to military over there, but just to know. Then production, yes, you might go to a production company where you can solve these particular problems. Then financial management, you can start now also. So those who have not done, please start. Okay, where all I could invest, from which all investments I'll get, how much of returns. Okay, so doing all these things can be done. Then marketing management, if you are into like advertising or uh, promotions, so there you will be using these things. Okay, then sales, not only advertising, if you are in sales also, so you'll get to know like what is the shortest distance to take or which is the route I need to take, so that I need not trace back. Or if you are a godown manager, you are managing some godowns and all, so from which godown I need to send where, if you are having multiple godowns and all. Then personal management, the HR students. So you can look into these staffing problems through LPP. So these are the problems encountered on a daily basis, where all these different kinds of methods could be used to solve many problems in real life also. Okay, but there are many implications to this and many advantages and limitations. So you need to take care of that. So some kind of problems. So we just saw the limitations where we can use and where we cannot. So you need to make sure that it is belonging to that kind of category. Then this works the best. Okay, these are the areas of application. Then the basic requisites of constructing a LPP. LPP in essence linear programming problem. So listen carefully. Okay, so these are the most important. So all these things you need to take into consideration before solving a particular problem. So there should be clearly identifiable. So here I'll just underline clearly identifying able objective function. Okay, so this is very much important. The objective function you need to find out whether it is maximizing or minimizing. Clearly it should be written to you. You should know clearly whether we are maximizing or we are minimizing. Okay, and in which it is measurable in quantitative terms. Just cannot say high morale. You cannot measure the high morale. Okay, whether it is high or low or whatever in quantitative terms. Basically, I'm telling. So that should not be the case. It should be in terms of quantitative terms. In the sense, you can measure them like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then example objective function could be maximization of sales, minimization of cost, and so on. I told you maximization or minimization. Maximization is here or minimization. So what all we are maximizing? Sales, profits, and all. So minimization of costs. Basically, we are reducing the costs or time, as I gave an example earlier. Then the constraint should be easily and distinctively identifiable. Okay, easily and distinctively, because the constraints are the things which are stopping you to do something. Okay, these are the constraints. So it should be easily and distinctively identifiable. In the sense, we can find out easily and distinctively, and even those should be measurable in quantitative terms. So even the variable should also be in the measurable in quantitative terms also. Then the relationship between constraints and the availability should be quantifiable and can be expressed in linear mathematical functions. In the sense, okay, constraints, like for example, I gave you the number of working hours. So they could give you total number of working hours that is available with us is some 50 or 20 hours. Okay, depending upon how many people are coming and how many hours are there, like they will be working. So based on that, they are giving you. Then that is further distributed in the number of products they are producing. So how much of hours I need to put in production of A, and how much of hours I need to put in the production of product B. But at the end, I am having total of a fixed number, like for example 20 hours. So I am having only 20 hours. Should I like divide it into 10 for two different products, or it is 15-5, or it is 18 and 2, whatever, depending upon the profitability. So that is what we need to find out, like how much to produce. Exactly, you cannot say that okay, give 10 hours to product A and 10 hours to product B. Okay, like for example, for product A, to complete one whole product, they need 2 hours. Okay, for product B, they need 5 hours. So you cannot give it exactly like into half, because product B will be only 2 products that will be done. Here it is, I told 2 hours, take 2 hours. If you give 10, you will make 5. Here 5 and here 2. Okay, so if product A and B are going for some assembly line, it is not possible. Here A is 5 and B is only 2. So you need to come up with a proper solution for this. Okay, so that is where we use these things. Okay, then decision maker should always have a series of feasible alternatives or course of actions. In the sense, we need to have multiple solutions available, multiple feasible solutions. So out of which we are finding out the optimum solution using the linear programming. That is what is important here. So first one, the objective function should be clearly identifiable. Then it should be measurable in quantitative terms. Then objective function could be maximization or minimization. That is okay. Then the constraint should also be easily, distinctively identifiable and measurable in quantitative terms. Then the constraints, okay, the relationship between the constraints and the availability should be quantifiable and should be easily expressed in linear mathematical functions. That is a plus bx, linear mathematical function. A plus bx, y is equal to a plus bx, general form of or standard form of a straight line. So something like that you need to be able to put it. Okay, then decision maker should have a series of feasible solutions. So here we are not coming up with solution. We are picking the right solution where we are getting the maximum output. Okay, in this particular LP problems. So this is what is the basic requisites of construction. So here we are having 3 kinds of problems. Okay, so basically we will be having, one is formulation of a LPP. So everything like the way I have given here. So in terms of These particular sentences it will be given. You need to convert those sentences into different mathematical equations. Okay, so those mathematical functions, linear mathematical functions, when you get it from this particular paragraph, we are calling that as formulation of LPP. Okay, formulation of LPP. We are formulating the linear programming problem. Then using that particular thing, we are moving to the next one where we are drawing a graph and we are doing necessary things over there. Then I'll explain those things when we are solving the problem. Okay, so that is the second part of it. Okay, so second part, draw the graph, find out the relevant points, then substitute it in the equation, then find out which one is maximum or minimum according to your objective function. Okay, so these are the two things, or you can do all like the both of those at once. So this is how they'll be asking you questions in examinations also. So the first part only formulation could be asked. Okay, so again for 7 marks, or formulation could be given to you directly. They will be asking you draw the graph and find out the optimum solution, that's maximization or minimization, again for 7 marks. So if they combine both, then they'll give it for 10 marks. Okay, so they'll give a relatively smaller problem. So if they have given only 7 marks, only one thing, that is formulation or the construction of the graph and finding out the solution, here they might complicate a bit. Okay, not much. Things are easy, but only thing is formulation if they give plus the finding out the optimum solution, this could be asked for 10 marks. Okay, so remember this. So now moving to the problems. Here if you see the problem statements, if they give formulation, the statements could be very big. Okay, but if you write the answer, it would be finishing in 3 to 4, 4 to 5 maximum, 4 to 5 lines. They are getting the answers. Okay, now students start writing with the problems. Okay, so these are very important. Don't skip this, because if you understand the problem well, then only you can solve or formulate the LPP. This is very important. You should understand. I again repeat, understanding the problem is very much important. Okay, so we can start writing. So the first problem, a firm is engaging in a firm is engaging in producing two products. A firm is engaging in producing two products, A and B. So here it is capital A and capital B, comma. Each unit of product A requires each unit of product A requires 2 kg of raw materials. Okay, 2 kg of raw materials and 4 labor hours. Okay, product A requires 2 kg of raw materials and 4 labor hours for processing. 4 labor hours for processing. Comma. Whereas each unit of product B requires 3 kg of raw materials, whereas each unit of product B requires 3 kg of raw materials and 3 hours of labor and 3 hours of labor of the same type. 3 hours of labor of the same type. Full stop. Every week the firm has the availability of 60 kgs 60 kgs of raw material. Every week the firm has the availability of 60 kgs of raw material and 96 labor hours. Full stop. One unit of product A can be sold at profit of rupees 40. and 1 unit of product B and 1 unit of product B can be sold, 1 unit of product B can be sold at a profit of rupees 35, at a profit of rupees 35. Full stop. Formulate the problem, formulate the problem as LPP. Formulate the problem as linear programming problem, or it is also called as LPP in short. So formulate the problem as LPP and determine as to how many units, and determine as to how many units of each product, and determine as to how many units of each product should be produced, how many units of each product should be produced per week, so that the firm can earn, so that the firm can earn maximum profit, maximum profit. So this is the definition or the statement of the problem, what we call. Here if you see what they have given, the firm has two products, that is A and B. We are having two products, and each product A and product B. For product A, they require 2 kgs of raw material, okay, and 4 labor hours. For A this is, okay. Then for processing, okay, whereas unit B or 1 unit of product B requires 3 kgs of raw materials and 3 hours of labor of the same time. So these are the things given to you, in the sense in the earlier thing what they are given, the basic things. There are two products which is a particular company are producing, and they have given for product A what is required and product B what is required. For product A, 2 kgs, okay. Product A requires 2 kgs of raw materials and 4 labor hours. For B, you need to have 3 kgs of raw materials and 3 labor hours. Okay, then next. So we are coming to constraints here. Okay, so what is the constraint? Every week the firm has the availability of 60 kgs. So per week I am having only 60 kgs of raw material. Okay, so I cannot have more than 60. Okay, and 96 labor hours only. Okay, I am having per week of 60 kgs of raw material and 96 labor hours. So here the constraint should be raw material and labor hours. So these are the two constraints given to you, which are raw material and labor hours. In what? In producing product A and B. Then they have told for product A, yeah. Where someone spoke, right? Any issues? Yes, students. Please answer yes or no. If no, I'll continue. If yes, just let me know. Yes, students, are you there? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then give some answer, right? So somebody told something while I was teaching, then you'll distract me as well as yourself. If anything is there, just let me know. I'll solve. Otherwise, if I ask you if there is nothing, you just answer that there is nothing, sir. Fine. So where was I? 96 labor, sir. So these are the constraints. Now we are coming to the main thing. So if I sell one product of A, I'll be getting profit of, here profit they have given, profit of rupees 40. So if I sell 1 unit of A, I'm getting profit of 40 rupees. Then if I sell 1 unit of product B, the profit is 35 rupees. Okay, product B 35, product A 40. So what they are asking you, so LPP, you know, this is a LPP problem. They have asked to come up with a LPP problem for what? Okay, how many units of each product should be produced? In the sense, only A to be produced, only B to be produced, or a combination of A and B needs to be produced. So to do what? So this is the your objective function. We need to have maximum profit. So this is my objective function. So remember, we need to have, initially we should write what is the objective function, then what are the constraints. Okay, then at the end there is something called as non-negative uh, constraint. Okay, this is non-negative constraint, stating that x1 or x2 are not in negative. We cannot produce -2 of product A, or we cannot produce -5 of product A. So it is a non-negative condition. So A and B should be produced in positive quantities only, whether it is 1 or 2, or it may not be produced in 0, but it should not go in negative. Okay, so that is called as non-negative or non-zero also, or sorry, 0 or non-negative. So it is x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. We'll see that. So that is very important for every LPP formulation. You need to write that. They will not give you. You need to make sure that you are writing it. Okay. Now coming to the solution. I hope you have written everything. Okay. So solution. If you see here, okay, I'll explain first. Then you can note it down. See here, what is this? The objective function is to have maximum profits with constraints of raw material and labor hours. Okay, so I told you what is the objective function? To have maximum profits with what constraints? What are the constraints? Raw materials and labor hours. So I told you while reading the question only, I got to know that these are the things. So first sum, I'll be solving it step by step, or everything will be given to you or in a written format. So you may use the same format, or in the consecutive one there are some things which you can skip. Okay, those things can be done. So based on whatever they have given, we have come up with this particular table. So what is this particular table? If you see, we are having product A and product B. Okay, so A and B we are having. So what is the first constraint? We are having raw material here. Then we are having second one is labor hours, and we are having profits per unit. Sorry, profits per unit is given to us. So how are we calculating the objective function with respect of maximum profits? How? Based on the profits we are calculating the objective function. So these are the things given to you, like I just read out. So raw materials, how much is required? We need 2 kgs for production of A. If you see, we need 2 kgs of raw material and 4 labor hours. And what is the profit that I am getting in A? I am getting 40 rupees if I sell one product. Then for B, I am having 3 kgs of raw material and 3 labor hours. Okay, and I am getting a profit of 35 rupees. And if you see maximum of how much raw material I have, I am having 60 kgs of raw material per week and 96 labor hours. So this is important now. So these are the constraints. I am having constraint of raw material and labor hour. Okay, so I'll just remove those. Okay, so I think there is no difficulty here. Anyone has any difficulty, or were not able to understand or getting confused? Just let me know. No, right? Please
No,
say.
sir.
No, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Fine. So using all this information what they have given, we need to come up with the objective function constraints. Okay. So here, if you see, I need to write this. Okay. What is x1 and x2? So we are having x and y axis. So always remember x1 will be your x axis and x2 will be your y axis. Okay. So we take x1 and x2 here for convenience. Okay. We might take x and y, but usually in all the textbooks or anywhere LPP is done, it is given as x1 and x2 only. Okay, so x1 will be your x-axis and x2 will be your y-axis. So what is x1? x1 units of product A to be produced. Okay, what is x1? Units of product A to be produced, and x2 is units of product B to be produced. Okay, so x1 is A, how many of A I can produce, or for x2 is how many of B I can produce. Okay, copy till here. Okay, then I will explain further how to go about. So right, you can read the whole thing. The objective function is to have maximum profits. The objective function is to have maximum profits with constraints of raw material and labor hours. With constraints of raw material and labor hours. Here they have given only 2 constraints. It could be 3, 4, 5, 8 constraints also. Okay, so for the maximum what I have seen is 5 to 6 constraints that they have given to you in the examination also. Okay, so but the products will be only 2. So I told you variables are only 2. We cannot have more than 2. So the variables will be only 2, but for formulation they can give you even 3. Okay, that possibility is there. So just formulation and not going for the calculation using the graphical method. But for formulation they can give you. So they can tell you like, okay, there are 3 products A, B, and C, and they give you all this. So what to do? We need to write it in this particular format so that it is easily understandable. Okay, so draw this particular table stating raw material, labor hours, and profits per unit. This is A, B, 2, 3, 4, 3, 40, 35. For raw material, it is total 60. For labor hours, it is 96. Then write let X1 units of product A be produced and X2 units of product B be produced. Done till here. Yeah, students, tell yes or no so that I can proceed.
Yes, sir.
Done, right? Okay, fine. So we need to start with OF. Always objective function should be the first after this particular let x1 and x2. After you assign that x1, what is x1 and x2, you should write objective function. Okay, always. And it is denoted by z. So if it is maximization, we will write max z. If it is minimization, we write min z. Okay, is equal to c of x. So the equation comes here again. So this is the general form of LPP. Okay, this is a general form of LPP. Z is equal to C of x. Okay, then we are having constraints. Okay, many constraints have to be written like AX less than or equal to B or greater than or equal to B. So these things are also very important. Okay, not more than, not less than, okay, less than or minimum of, okay, or maximum of. So these things will tell you whether it is greater than or lesser than. Okay, so here it is A of x less than or equal to B. Okay, this is a general form again of a constraint. Okay, then there will be a non-negative condition, that is x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. So here I have not written, but at the end here I have written. Okay, so now this is the general form. So I can write this also. Objective function OF is given as OF z is equal to C of x. Z is equal to C of x. Next line, constraints Ax less than or equal to B. Ax less than or equal to B. These are the general forms of linear programming problem. So now coming to the objective function. So objective function is what given here. I'll go back. They are given here maximum profit. So it will be max z always. Here max z. So you should write always like this: OF, that is objective function, comma max z. What is my objective? My objective is maximizing the z. Okay. How can we maximize? We can maximize it using the profits. Okay. Why? We are using the maximization of profits only here. So using these particular profits, I need to do the formation of the equation of objective function. So maximize what? Maximize the profit. So where are the profits? I'm having 40 and I'm having 35 here. So how to write that? So if I sell 1 unit of A, I am getting 40 rupees or as profit. So it will be 40x1. So the x1 you need to make it as 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, whatever. So that is a variable x1. Then quantity of A, of how much you will produce. Quantity of A basically. How much are you producing? So it will be 40x1. Okay, plus 35 is the profit of the second. That is, if you sell B, I am having 35 rupees. Okay, per unit of sales of B, I am getting 35 rupees. So it will be plus 35 x2. Why x2? Because it is related to B here. See here, B x2. So for B it would be 35 x2. So this will be a maximum function or maximization function. So here if you put two, like for example, two products of product A you are coming up and you are doing 3, for example here. So 40 into 2 plus 35 into 3 will give you a maximum profit. Okay, so this is the equation of maximization of profit. So we are using profits here. So how much quantity of x1, that is A, I am using into the profit of A. Okay, plus how many X2 I am doing, that is product B I am doing, then multiply with the profits of B. So that is what will give you the max Z. Okay, so I'll just remove all these things, otherwise you'll get confused. Okay. So I hope there is no doubts in maximization of Z or objective function. Okay, objective function is clear. Yeah, students, any difficulty or doubts?
No, sir.
No doubts, right?
No, sir.
Yeah, good. So next, coming to the objective function. Okay, subject to, we should write ST. Okay, so while solving or while formulating, OF should be written, subject to you can write, or ST you can write. Okay, ST comma, first what is this RM? This is raw material. So we need to find out which all are the constraints here, raw material and labor hours. So we need to have one constraint regarding the raw material and one more constraint regarding the labor hour. Okay, so I am writing first one, raw material. So for raw material, what is the problem? So maximum I am having how much raw material? I am having 60. Okay, so that will be here. So how much are we using for product A? I am using 2, right? So it will be 2x1. So for example, if you take x1 as 1, so for every product of A, I am using 2 kgs of raw material. So it will be 2x1 here. Plus, so if you are producing B, again you are using raw material, how much? 3. So this will be 3x2. So 2x1 plus 3x2. Okay, you can use total maximum of 60. Okay, not more than that, but you can use less than that, right? So instead of 60, I can use 59 kgs, I can use 58 kgs, right? But I cannot use 61 kgs because I don't have 61 kgs with me of raw material. I can maximum use 60 or less than 60. So this condition is very important. This is less than or equal to. So if you go wrong here, your problem goes 100% wrong. Okay, so after this also, like based on this particular sign only, we are using in graph to find out the optimum solution. So in terms of raw material or in terms of labor hours, if the maximum amount what they have given to you will be the ultimate number of hours that you can use, or ultimate number of kgs of raw material that you can use, or less than that. Okay, they have said 96 of labor hours, so I can use 92 here. I am not having any issue, but I cannot use 97 or 100 labor hours because I don't have those many people who can work, right? So that is not possible. So that's why this thing is less than or equal to, okay, less than or equal to 60, right till here now. Okay, so I hope you have finished till general function now, right? OF, that is objective function, is maximization. Max Z is equal to 40x1 plus 35x2. Then subject to what constraints? Subject to constraints. So this you need to write subject to. First one is raw material. Okay. So for raw material, what is the constraint? So total raw material should be less than or equal to 60 kgs. So how much are we using for A? I am using 2x1 for A plus 3x2 for B, which should be less than or equal to 60. Okay, so Rm 2x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 60. Okay, next coming to second constraint, that is labor hours. So what is labor hours? So number of hours a particular person or set of people can contribute in a particular week. Here weekly they have given. So in a week I am having maximum of 96 hours. Okay, so for A, how much I require? I require 4 labor hours. So it will be 4x1 plus how much of labor hour I am requiring for B? It is 3. So I will be writing 3x2. So again here it is less than or equal to 96. Why? Because I am having maximum of 96 labor hours available with me. Okay, so it is for A, I need 4 hours for product. So it is 4x1 plus 3 hours for product B plus 3x2, and maximum is 96. So this is less than or equal to 96. Maximum of usage would be 96 hours only. I cannot go above that, but I can go below it. I can use only 95 hours of a person, and I can make a particular person sit for 1 hour. Okay, so that can be done. And a non-negative condition. No need to write this, but for the first problem, you can write what is that? A non-negative condition. Non-negative condition is what? X1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. So this is very important. You should write greater than or equal to 0. X1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. This is non-negative condition. If you don't write this, the term, what is written, it is non-negative condition is fine, but you should write this x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. This is very much important. Okay, so write it down. So I think you have written till raw materials. Now write labor hours comma 4x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 96. Less than or equal to 96. And non-negative condition or non-negativity condition comma x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. So any doubts here in this? So this ends our formulation part. Okay, this is what is the formulation part. Okay, so any doubts here, students? Anything you did not understand? Yeah, yes or no? Understood? Not understood?
Understood, sir.
Understood, right? So anyone, no doubt you can ask me. Okay, so I am very happy to again go around with this. Okay, I can explain you again, not an issue. So but make sure you are understanding it properly. In any line or anything you don't understand, just ask me. Okay, from where that particular term has come, why I have used that. Okay, so I'll be happy to tell you that. Okay, so make sure you are not having any
So,
difficulties. Yeah.
so that in objective function, down
Okay.
you have written constant a x. Also, why you have written a and b, sir?
Constant A and B.
Yes, sir. In objective function,
Which one? The formulation part or before formulation?
before formulation, sir. In objective functions, constants a x you have written, no, sir. Down of that, sir.
This one, constraints. It's not a constants. It is constraints. 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 Okay, so see, these are subject to constraints. This is general format. So your objective function will be z is equal to max z or min z according to your objective function. Okay, then these are constraints. CONSTRAINTS. Okay, these are constraints, not constants. Constraints are these. Okay, so where you are getting RM and LH, that is raw materials and labor hours. It could be many. So in general, they'll write only one constraint AX less than or equal to B. They have written. It could be greater than or equal to B, or it could be is equal to also. Okay, so that is what is constraints and nothing else. So using these two only, we are formulating this. Okay, whatever has come here, no, we are formulating these things. Okay, so max z, that is objective function. What here maximization is there for profit. So I'm using 40 and 35 here. Then subject to what are the constraints? I'm having two things, that is raw material and labor hours. Then there is a non-negativity condition, x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. So this no need to worry about anything. They are saying that x1 and x2 are equal to or greater than 0. That's all. This has to be written everywhere. Okay, irrespective of maximization, minimization. If that's a problem for LPP, you need to write this sentence. Okay, not sentence, this particular equation, that is x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0. Okay, I hope I have answered your question. I think it's Naina, right? Who had asked?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, got clear? So don't
Yes,
make
sir.
the mistake. It is constraints. Okay, not constant. Fine. So I'll remove this again. So no doubts, right, students, till here? If anything is there, ask me now only, because next sum you have to solve according to this. So moving on to the next part. Now this is formulation. They can ask you that particular question, and if they ask you only formulation, they can ask you for around 7 marks. So till here, if you write, you will get 7 marks, including this, the whole thing, whatever you can see on your screen. If you write all these things, you will get 7 marks. Okay. Next, the second part, we can go to the second part now. So even from that part, if you start, we are getting 7 marks only. So if you combine both this first part and the second part, then we are getting the 10 marks question. Okay. So, or even they can ask you only formulation for 10 marks if they can give you more number of constraints. So you can find out the more number of constraints, like 4, 5 or 6 constraints they'll give you. So to find out and write those all 6 constraints, you will be given 10 marks. Okay, so in general, if 2 or 3 constraints are given, for formulation it will be 7 marks, and for solving to get the final optimum solution, for that it will be 7 marks if they directly give you the formulation. Okay, so till here formulation is there. Okay, this ends the formulation part. Next, going to the second part where we are solving the problem or the formulation using the graphical format. Yeah. So now in graph, to draw a particular graph, we need to have points, right? So we are finding out those particular points and then drawing a line. So if you remember, okay, how to draw a graph. So there will be x-axis and y-axis, and there will be some numbers on x-axis and some numbers on y-axis depending upon your scale. Okay, then there should be some numbers, right, to draw a line, right? You need to have some points which should be consisting of x-axis and y-axis. So if x-axis is 10, 20, that is x-axis is 10 and y-axis is 20. So on x-axis you need to mark 10 and on y-axis you need to mark 20. Right? So for getting those, like for example, I'll draw and show it to you. So this is the graph. So for example, I'm having 10 here, okay, and 20 here. So if just I give you this, how can you draw? Okay, but if I tell you draw x-axis at 10 and y-axis at 20, so my first point is here and second point is here. I need to draw a line like this, straight line connecting 20 and 10. So always remember, so if they write 20, sorry, here in this case it is 10, comma 20 if they write, okay. So always remember this first 10 will be of x-axis and next this will be of y-axis. Always, this is a standard format. You cannot change this. So even when you write a coordinate like this, always you should write first for x-axis, then second for y-axis. So if they give you this, you need to draw 10 at x-axis and 20 at y-axis. Remember this. Okay, this is very important. Those who are not knowing. So first always will be x-axis, then it will be y-axis. Okay. Next, there are two methods of finding out these points. So I'm having two constraints. Just now we found out, right? 2x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 60 and 4x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 96. So this is for raw materials RM and the other one is for labor hours. This is LH. So you may mark it as 1 and 2 if required. If not, well and good, not an issue. So I have marked here 1 and 2. We're using first method. There are two methods. We are getting the same answers. Don't worry. So whichever you feel easy, you can use. Okay. So here, first method, what I am doing is for 1. What is 1? I have taken 1 as this 2x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 60. So this is my 1. For 1, divide the entire equation with 60. Why 60? Because it is the RHS. I need to make this RHS as 1. So to make this 1, what I need to do? I need to divide the whole equation with 60. So I am dividing here. 2x1 divided by 60 plus 3x2 divided by 60 is less than or equal to 60 divided by 60. Okay, so in your calculator, this calculator, that is scientific calculator, will help you a lot in this case. Okay, that is the numerator and the denominator. When you are getting that particular part, no, like that you need to get here. So here it is small, it is not an issue. Okay, like for example, 2 divided by 60. So that is 2 ones are 2, 30s are 60. So it becomes x1 by 30 plus 3 by 60. 3 ones are 3 2s are 6 and or 0. So it is 3 1 by 20, that is x2 by 20. Again 60 by 60 will be 1. So it is less than or equal to 1. So I got x1 is 30 and x2 is 20. These are the 2 points now for drawing a line for this particular equation. For this particular equation, so I am having x1, that is, I told you always x1 is x-axis. So for x-axis it is 30 and for y-axis it is 20. Okay, so fine. So how to write this? So how to write this in equation format, like in point format? So it is 30 comma 20. So this is how you write it. So that means x-axis is 30, y-axis is 20. That's how we are getting here. So similarly for equation 2, 4x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 96. So I need to make this 96 as 1. So what I should do? I should divide the entire equation with 96. Okay, so if I divide entire equation with 96, the values may change, but the relationship between all these things will remain the same, because everywhere I am doing the same operation. Okay, so here it is 4x divided by 96 plus 3x2 divided by 96 less than or equal to 96 divided by 96. So in this case also it is easy, but some of you might find difficulty. So you can just type it 4 divided by 96. You will get directly 1 by 24. Okay, then 3 by 96 we are getting 1 by 32 in a calculator. So that will help you a lot. Okay, so here 1 by 23 in the sense, so 1 into x1 divided by 24. So it is x1 by 24 plus x2 by 32 less than or equal to 1. Here I got the values again for x1 and x2. So what are the values? It is 24 comma 32. Okay, this is the second line, or the points for drawing the second line. So x-axis is 24 and y-axis is 32. Okay, so next one. So if you see here, y-axis is 32. So 20 comma 30 comma 20. Okay, so this one I'll explain you later. I did some mistake here, so you might get confused. I'll explain it later. I hope this particular thing, did you get it? Any difficulties here? So whatever is in the RHS, you have to divide it. So we are getting a particular sum here. So that those are the equations directly which you are using. Okay, this is x1 is 30 and x2 is 20. Okay, so leave this. The second method I'll explain you later. So I have made some mistake here. So here you'll get confused. So remove that. So directly coming to the graph. So can you see I have drawn it with pencil? Is it visible? Yeah, students?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So here we are having x-axis. Oh, I've taken, this is x1. Sorry, x1 and this is x2. So everywhere I have written 2. So this is x1 and this is x2. So always x-axis is x1 and y-axis is x2. So first, if I'll go back, so what is the point? 30 comma 20. 30 comma 20. So x-axis is 30. One point is here. I have drawn it with a circle, and y-axis is 20. So it is 20 is the point here. So this is the point. So draw a straight line here. So this is my first point, and always you need to write the equation. So this equation I need to write. So I'll just remove because very important. Okay, so this equation. So this line is for this particular equation. 2x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 60. So for this line, for this equation, this is the line. Okay, next second one I'll go back. Okay, so it is 24 32. Okay, 24 32. Okay, I think I have done it wrong again. Emergency. So 24 is here. Okay, so instead I did it opposite. So 32 I have taken here, 24 I have done here. Okay, so 24 is here, 32. So because I have taken like that, this scale I have missed it a lot. Okay, 24 32 on top, it will come here. So somewhere here I'll just write. Okay, so we need to draw a line like this. So as I'm using a mouse, so don't expect a straight line here. Okay, so this is the line which you need to draw and write this particular equation on this line. Okay, this is a big mistake done from my end. Okay, so 32, sorry, 24, 32. So this is how it is. So yeah, 24, 32. So x-axis is 24 and y-axis is 32. So write this equation here. Okay, so after writing this equation, okay, so these two lines are here now. So now we need to focus on this, that is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Here both we are having less than or equal to. Less than in the sense, always remember, for x-axis, less than will be always towards the center. So if you see the numbers, they are going on becoming smaller and smaller. So this is less than or equal to for x-axis. For y-axis, if you see, less than again towards the index only, that is 0. So towards the center point here, if you see, again the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. So lesser than in the sense this side and this side. Okay, so if I draw a particular line and say less than that, so here if you see less than that is, I have drawn some arrows here. So my area is this, less than this particular thing. If you see, so this is the area that tells me I am interested in. So this is less than or equal to 60. So less than is always on this side. So that's why I have drawn these particular lines, arrows here. You don't draw this in the examination. If you want, you can. Otherwise, it will be very clumsy. If only two lines are here and it is looking like this. So if there are 4-5 lines, if they come over here, it will be very difficult for you also to understand, and it becomes too much what do you call, clumsy here. Everything is there only, you may not make out. So for understanding, I have done this. Okay, so less than is inside this. So here also this side, here also this side. So similarly, okay, forget this because that's wrong, this one. So this one is the line. So again, inside this is your area of, okay, and this thing is the area for my answer. So if you see here, this thing cuts here. Okay, this and this thing is getting cut. Okay, so now we need to leave this part, even though I am having this. Okay, so I need to find a place or a area where all my constraints are meeting. Okay, so this part, this is not going because I am not writing it on this side, it is on this side, right? So this part I am not getting the first constraint, so leave this. So leave all this. Again here I am not getting anything. Okay, again here I have drawn this. So this line, okay, I am writing here. So this part is not going here, so we need to leave this part and this part is left. So where my both the areas are coinciding, so this is the part. Okay, I'll take a different color so that you'll understand. Okay, I'll take this. See here, my area of interest is this now. This, from here it will be this, then this. So this is my area of interest. This is called as feasible solution or feasible region, not solution, feasible region. Why? Because both the constraints are there in this region. So this is overlapping. So first one, if you see, the line is here, and below this again the line is here, again it is less than 96. So less than this side, and it will take on this side. Okay, so which area is coinciding here? If you see, the second one is not coming. Okay, sorry, first one is not coming here. If you see, okay, the second one is not coming. So this area, whatever is there, this is my feasible region. Write this, so I can mark it as feasible region. F-E-A-S-I-B-L-E. This is feasible. I'm sorry, because of the mouse. Region, R-E-G-I-O-N. So this is feasible region. Okay, so now what you need to do is, where all two lines are cutting, we need to mark the points. So here two lines are cutting, that is the y-axis and this particular line, like this, it's cutting, right? So again I'll take a different color for this. So I'll take green. Okay, so this is one point where my this line as well as this line is getting cut, so I'm marking it as A. Okay, so in the before one there was no cutting or anything because of my mistake. So if you see here again, a second point is being cut here. Okay, in the feasible region, wherever feasible region is there, only you need to check. Okay, whichever is surrounded by the feasible region. So this is one point where feasible region is there. So there is a second point here where two lines are cutting, this line and this line. So this is the point. So this will be, I'll mark it as B. Okay, then there is one more, there will be with respect to y-axis also. So this is one line and this is one more line. So here it is getting cut. Okay, this is C. And as it is origin, there will be again one more line, but you may not take this point because 0 0 only will be there. So if you multiply anywhere, you are getting 0 only. So you may or may not consider this point. So here it is A, this is B, and this is C. Okay, now we need to find the coordinates for this. So if you see here, I'll go like this down. What is this? It is 10. So here if I go, what is the line here? So it is 10, 12. So it is somewhere between 13 and 15. So it is 14 here. So 14 here. So 14 and 10 because it is 10 here. So what will be the coordinates for this point? So what is x-axis first? Always we need to write x-axis. So it is 10. So this is 10, comma, up. Now this side, up is 14. So it is 10, comma, 14. This is the one point, that is point B. So for point A it would be x is 0, so we are not going this side. So it is, I'll write it here, it is 0, comma, how much height is there? Height is 20, yeah, 20. So 0, comma, 20 is the point, that is point A is 0, comma, 20. Now point C, I'll write it here. So x-axis is full. Okay, so what is x-axis? X-axis is 24, right? 24. Okay, comma, what is the height? Height is 0, we are not having any height, so it is 24, comma, 0. So this is what is the coordinate. So any difficulty here? It is looking very clumsy if I see directly, but if you remember the steps what I did, so you will be understanding. So any doubts here? Yes, students. So these are the 3 points which needs to be found out in this particular equation. Then these 3 points or these particular coordinates should be multiplied or should be used in your max side. Okay, that I'll show you. Like the mistake was done, so according to that it will be there. So in the next one, if you see, so we have what? Z is equal to 40x1 plus 35x2. This is my objective function, if you remember. Okay, so now we are getting the values of x and y. That is, if you see first one, you see here what is for point A, it is 0, 20. So here I'll not go there because 0 is there. So I'll just tell you with respect to this. B is 10, 14. Okay, so coming here, so here if you see for point B, so point B is different. Here I'm having 10, 14. Right, so instead of x1, I should put 10 now. So it is 40 into 10. Okay, 40 into 10 plus 35 into, instead of 0, it is 14. 1, 4. So if you calculate this, we are getting a number here. So similarly for point A, I am getting 0, 20, right? 0, 20 is correct. So 40 into 0 plus 35 into 20 will give me 700. Okay, this part is 0. So you may not calculate. So 35 into 20, 35 2 is 70. Plus was 0, so it becomes 700. So for third one, so this is 0.3, that is actually has to be written. For point C, so what is point C? You go back here, point C is 24, 0. That is 40 into 24, 40 into 24 plus 35 into 0. So here what I want max Z, right? Max Z is what I want. So out of these 3 that I calculated, okay, so somebody calculate and tell me what is 40 into, what is the value? 40 into 24. What is 40 into 24?
960, sir.
960.
960. Okay, thank you. 960. 0. So out of these three, which is higher? So 1200 is higher, right? So they have to go, sorry, not 1200. So if you multiply, somebody will multiply and tell me 40 into
820.
820,
Yes, sir.
820. So sorry, this is also wrong. So if you see, I'm having 700, I'm having 820, and I'm having 960. So which is highest in this? So highest is 960. So I need to take 960 as the point. So what are the values here? So I need to do 40 into 10. Okay, and 35. Oh, sorry, here. Sorry. I'll write it properly. 24. So it is 24. 40 into 24. 40 into 24 plus 35 into 0. I'm getting 960. Right? So 960 I want. So what is the condition where I'm getting 960 as the maximum profits? So where if I do only 24 of A and 0 of B. So if I produce 24A, then only I'll get 960. Okay, and I should not produce any B. Then I am getting 960, and it is the maximum because 700 I am having, 820 I am having, 960 I am having. If you do this, this is what is the optimum solution. So you should select here. We select point B here according to this. So here we are selecting point C. So make this as C, make this as C, as it gives maximum profit, and choose to produce product A for not 30. Here it is 24 quantity. Okay, this is what is your should be your final answer. Stating all these things, then marking which is highest, then telling them what to select. Okay, so have you guys copied this? I'll remove everything. So have you guys copied?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Please
Yes,
copy
sir.
now. I'll give you 2 minutes. Do it fast. Nothing. Write these two equations which you have found out. Okay, write these two equations. Then first method, what we need to do? We need to divide it with the LHS. Sorry, RHS, right hand side. Then we are getting these values here. So these will be acting as a coordinates. Fine. Then similarly divide the equation with this. Then you are getting a coordinate again here. Then plot it in this particular graph. So again scale you need to write. So there should be a title here. If you don't write, well and good, not an issue here. Okay, but you should maintain your x1 and x2. Okay, here this is not x1, this is x1. So x1 and x2 you can write, instead of x1 and x2 you can write what is this? What is this here and what is this here? Okay, the x1 what you have taken, this is production of A, this is production of B. You can write x1, x2. If you are getting confused, you can write x1, x2. Otherwise, you can write A and B here. Then draw it, draw the line. Okay, so it may not be this, okay, because this is just a rough one that I have drawn. So it may go even here like this. I don't know. Okay, it may go like this, and the value might be different here. Because just to tell you, because it is wrong where I have gone wrong. So this is not the point exactly 10 and 14. This is just an example. This may come somewhere here because 32, here it is only 24. 34 is way ahead, but 24 is this. So if you draw like this, it goes to very, like the angle changes, and the two lines that cut will be changing here. Okay, it will come here. So for that matter, it will be 22 and 6. So 6 and 22. So that will be changing. So these points are very important. So I'll remove all of it. See how much clumsy it is looking. So don't mark much. So for explanation, I have done it. So as much as possible, only you should mark the feasible region. Okay, this feasible region, what I have marked, has to be marked. The rest all you just keep it based on this less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. You need to find the feasible region, mark it, then you can write feasible region there. Okay, I'm going to remove everything now. Okay, so I've removed everything. So I had just marked the feasible region because both this is also below this is also below this. So both the regions are coinciding in this part. So I had only marked this part. Okay, this is feasible region. So even as I went wrong, because in the urgency of doing, okay, I went wrong. So don't do this issues in your examination. So even you may go wrong. Okay, so don't do these mistakes. So did you understand? Can you do it? Yeah, students.
Yes, sir.
Done? Finished, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's already time. Okay. So I wanted to solve one more sum. So we'll see it in the next class. Here, if you see, we have already crossed the time duration. It's already 12:55. Okay, because we need more time for solving sums. Okay. So we'll see. So next problem we'll do it in the next class.